Hi everyone, and welcome back to Call Sign Charlie Models for part 3 of the Dragon Models MIM-104B Pack 1 Patriot system. In part 2 we covered the trailer system for the Patriot system, and moving on to part 3 we will be working on the M983 truck for the whole system. So this is covered in 9 steps in the instructions, and I'm going to get the camera flipped around and we will start getting to work. So 1 second and I'll be back. Okay, so let's take a look at the instructions for this whole section of the build. So starting off, working with the chassis, getting the transmission in right here, and then the chassis rails and supports, and getting all that done. And then we move on to the next step. We're adding in the suspension right here, and it looks like this is the upper support for maybe the cabin, and then the transmission and axles or differentials for the front, and then same thing for the rear. And then moving on with some more a basic engine, it looks like right here. Let's see if I can get down to it. Gotta move some stuff. Yeah, basic engine right in here, getting that done. Then moving on, we work on the cab floor over here, adding fuel tanks and some more odds and ends, some mud flaps, adding in the engine, more boxes, spare wheel which will be added after paint, and then moving on to 24. So let's see, wait, where is 24? Okay, so we got 24 done, then 25. Got a bunch of little bits to add to it. The wheel hubs for the interior. And then we move on to the cabin area. So we'll have to paint that separate and then glue it all together, and then add the windows and mask those off before we start all the paint. And then we work on finishing up the underside. The wheels, like you said, they'll be added after paint, so we'll get all those together and then we'll put them aside. And then we add the cabin and the steps to it, and then more work with the cabin right here, doors and such. Then adding on the plating, spare wheel, a box, and then to finish it all off, we add the receiver, some more plates, some lights, and all that, and some cabling poles. And then afterwards, I'll get some research done and I'll find out where the cables go to while hooked up to the trailer, so I can get that correct. Alright, so going back here to step number 16 over here. I am nitpicky. I don't like the instructions that fold out like that. I prefer the book type instructions, but you make do with what you have. So I'm gonna get all these parts cut out for the chassis, and then start gluing them all together and getting them all lined up. So I will be back in 1 second. Okay, so when I was hunting through the sprues for the parts I'm going to need to cut off, part callouts call for part G or J, right, for the struts that go in between the two chassis walls. So I was going back and forth, could not find sprue J. Finally went to the sprue call out on the front, and I found the sprue that looks like it, and this is labeled sprue number A. So typical of Dragon, they like to mislabel parts, and I guess even whole sprues. So I'm going to get all the parts cut out for this, and then I will be back once I start gluing everything together. Alright, so we got done with the chassis frame here. All went together pretty well. One foul up from Dragon was that they got these two parts backwards. So they call for E1 to go on this side and E2 to go on this side, and it's vice versa. So just pay attention to the instructions and the pictures, and you'll catch on to it. But yeah, so that's it for the chassis mainframe. And moving on to the next step, what we're going to be working on is adding some suspension and some more, looks like, support for the cabin on these right here. And then we work on more of the axles and the start of the engine. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of this done, and then I will be back in 1 second. Alright, so I'm back. I got a good amount done on the chassis of the M983. So we got the engine, what is the engine, put in with all the drive shafts, the transfer case, the exhaust, the battery box, fuel tank. The suspension is all done. We're almost all done. We still have a lot more to do, but the basic suspension is done. And then got these boxes added in. Now these boxes, they got them backwards. So on the instructions they have this one going here and this one going here as well. So, but they have the instructions pointing to these locator spots. So just look at the instruction pictures, because pictures are right, the actual numbers are not. So make sure you're paying attention to that. And then other than that, that was pretty much the only error that has happened besides these two parts being wrong. Just a flip-flop. Again, a flip-flop over of here as well. So again, this is coming together. It's starting to kind of look like an M983. Tomorrow, my club, we have a all-day workshop. So from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. tomorrow night, we will be doing a workshop. I'm not going to be there all day. I can't do that. I can't do that to my dog. She needs me to come home. So I'll probably stay there for a couple hours, work on this for a bit, come home, hang out with Charlie for a little bit, do some recording and filming of another inbox review, and then I'll go back to the workshop tomorrow night for a couple hours to hang out with some of the guys, and then come home, and then continue this on Sunday as well. So I'm thinking the way that this is going, I might have this all built up by Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and then moving on to paint next week. And yeah, so all in all, I'm pretty happy with this kit so far. Just a couple little things, but if you pay attention to the instructions and pay attention to what you're doing, you can find out and get to where you need to be. And the other issue was that one of the sprues was mislabeled in the instructions. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with it. I'm going to keep on moving on. I think up next we got the spare wheel, but I'm not attaching that to the model. And then a couple other things that go over here and on this side as well. And also the cabin, we got to get the cabin cut out, but I'm going to paint that at home before I attach that, paint the interior at my house. So I'm gonna get all that done, and then I'll be back in 1 second. Alright, and we're back, giving a little update on where we stand on the M983 HEMTT for the Patriot system. So from last time, I've gotten all the suspension done, the air brakes done on here, some more boxes, got the I need to re-glue that. That's gotten pretty loose, so let that fall off. Got all the transmission bits in, got this main floor on, and then let's see, got the antenna and this wall and all that on. So got a lot of that done last night and this morning during our club workshop, and today the club is doing a all-day workshop, and I'll be going back later tonight. I plan on making a video of that workshop as well, and a bunch of the guys. So but right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fix this tank. I'm gonna re-glue this tank on, and then I got a box to glue on here. And then also I want to start with I want to get all the interior parts cut off. Where is it? Right here. I want to get all this cut off from the sprue. I want to paint the interior and then close it all up, so that way I can get this forward cab section on and not have to worry about that. And then after that's all done, let's see, we just got to finish off the rear section. Like, I already got this piece on. I got to glue the box and this grating on, and then after that we just have the hitch assembly and some of the cable connectors to go on. So getting close to being done with this part of the build, which I am super excited, so we can actually start moving on to paint on this guy and get this guy all done. So I'm going to go off of here. I'm going to glue this piece back on. I might have to use super glue because the connection point is kind of small, right? And it just, where there's no, it floats, so it just connects right here, and then there's nothing else for it to sit on besides this little piece right here, and the connection point for it is a little bit wider than that little nub. So yeah, I think I might use super glue for that. And then I'm going to get the interior parts all cut off and painted, and then possibly attach to the glass parts tonight and get the cabin closed up, hopefully. So I'm going to go off camera here, and then I will be back with you in a second. Alright, so I'm back. New day. And yesterday I got a lot done. My club here in Louisville, we held every Saturday, we hold a workshop that typically runs from 6 a.m. to about 12 p.m. Noon. And yesterday we held a all-day build session. It started at 6 a.m. and closed up shop at 11 p.m. But I wasn't able to make it to the entire one. I had to come back home and take care of Charlie for a little bit, but I was able to get a lot done yesterday. We got the forward cab section put on, the boxes and the rear plating, and then finish off with the under suspension. So moving on, I only have a few more parts to do. My goal is to be done with the build part of this. So I would have finished this yesterday, but when I got to the workshop when I went back last night, I realized I left my instructions for this back home. So kind of went off of what I could by memory, and then just carried on from there. But so we just have a few more parts left on the cab. The stairs, looks like a bracket, a couple brackets right there. The wheels, I got the def model wheels, cut off the resin blocks. I'm just gonna have to do a little bit of surgery to the kit where I just have to cut off a little bit of the nub right here to get it to fit. But other than that, I mean, they are a perfect fit for that. And then again with the cab, we're adding handrails, the rear view mirrors, the light. Same with the other side with the rear view mirrors. We got the front plate coming down, and then the tie down chains or the toe chain eyes. I already got all this done yesterday. I was able to do that by memory. And then we got the hitch assembly to do. Then after that, this is done with the build, and then we're moving on to paint. So I was able to get some little video and some pictures of yesterday's workshop, so I'll attach those to the end of this video. It's a really good time, bunch of great guys, and if your club can do it, I can't recommend doing it enough. It's a good way to build friendship, keep in touch with everybody more than once a month, and then yeah, you guys get to have fun and build and all that. So I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna get these steps done with the steps and all of that, and then I'll be back when it is all done to show it off. So 1 second. Alright, I'm back, and I am all finished with the build portion of this whole build. So got done with the M983 just now, and it's looking pretty good. I have a few more bits like the hitch to attach, but that's going to be painted separately, and then the wheels, and then after that, that's all going to be painted separately. So that's at the very end of the build, and a glass part that goes up on this right here. But all in all, went together really well. There were a few instruction mix-ups with the numbers. As long as you pay attention to the instructions and the pictures in the instructions, the pictures are right, the numbers are not. So just pay attention to the pictures. Other than that, went really well, got it all masked. The one thing I do wish is that they would have put the windshield wipers as separate pieces. I think that would have made it a lot easier for painting and masking off the windows, but work around it. So other than that, that's all done for the M983. And then we got the trailers for the Patriot system, which is done and ready to go. So basic, I got the rest of the parts in another bin. The underside pretty bare, but, and then the trumpeter C-band radar system trailer. So again, there's going to be control boxes that go on there, and the actual C-band radar, so it's going to look really good. So part 4 is going to be painting and priming and painting. So I'm going to start on that this afternoon, and then we'll move on from there. So thank you for watching all these parts of the build, parts 1, 2, and 3. I'm excited to move on to part 4. Stay tuned to the end of this video for some pictures and a little video of the all-day workshop. I was only able to get a little clip of what happened because I was only there for a few hours because I had to come back and take care of Charlie, but it's a really good time, and thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay frosty.
You like Japanese?
That's us. That's us. All these filing we're doing, you'd think we were a nail salon.
They might think that.
May very well.
Almost said too. I'm bringing it here.
The Stu 42 by Blitz Tacom.
Old school Dragon M4A1 75mm with this one's got the liquid Tamiya surface primer applied abundantly on the cast hull, basically just using an acid brush and stippling to build up the cast texture.
Sweet.
Rich, what are you doing? You gonna eat any of them? Just chill.
No, I'm just chilling. I got steak. Like for me.
How long are you staying today?
Me?
Yeah.
For a while.
Who's closing down?
Sticking around.
How many
Are
you
you
stay?
staying around?
Well, we'll be here for a while longer.
Yeah. It's only 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
You got a kitchen pass tonight?
What?
You got a kitchen pass?
I got a family down on that.
Oh, what's
Yeah,
the
I
clock?
love it.
He was just, honey, would you care if I... Little tough guy talking here, but... Yeah.
Can I still have a shot at
This
this?
is the
Bunny,
Copper State
bunny.
Canadian Armored MG,
Not carrier.
and it is an excellent can.
Baby.
Nice.
Excellent